Quick throw, intercepted. How about the stab by Tahi? Down at the 11-yard line, a one-handed pick by Siali Tahi. Hashtag DNRT5.
Welcome into Deseret News Rewind. Dusty Litster, Dane Stewart, as always, brought to you by the Utah Army National Guard, presented by Heidemann Associates, and now outfitted by Black Clover.
Yeah, Dusty, hey, I'm feeling good, man. Debuting the Black Clover line, and folks, we've got a special promotion for you. They're new to us, so you got to kick that off with the sale, right? We've got a 20% off code for you at blackcloverusa.com. If you enter DNR20, that's Deseret News Rewind 20, DNR20, you'll get 20% off your order from Black Clover. You can go to blackcloverusa.com. And if you want to feel the shirt, you want to feel the hat, they've got a full line of men's and ladies' gears. You can go to their store. It's off 123rd South, right next to the water park.
Absolutely. And I want to thank all those companies and people who support us. Please go support them. And we've all learned that in the last 5 months. And how about it? The last 5 months go by. And last night, man, it was like it was a dream Friday night. Football was back, and none of that. We were back.
Yeah.
Felt so good. And, and even if we got to knock through a little bit of glass just to make sure that we're living up to the protocols, we'll do that. Mask up, Utah. Look, we want this season to go. Let's start here, right?
Yeah.
Let's go to the opening statement brought to you by Heidemann Associates. Justin Heidemann is a trusted friend of both of us.
Yep.
We both use him. We both go there. And if you need help setting up a will and trust, you need help set up a business, if you got into a bad investment, Bernie Madoff got you. Go to Justin Heidemann. Let him help you. That's what he does. Takes care of securities. Yep. Go to www.utah.law, a free consultation. Find out if you got a case. They're going to take care of you. Let them know Deseret News Rewind sent you. And Justin will take care of you. Let's start here. Dane, we know, first of all, how this all works has been very interesting to watch. Activity Association and how this was going to go down. And the opening statement is kind of want to talk about how we're going to get to November 20th. Last night was a big celebration.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of fun. There was a lot of fun going around the state. First off, not every school that's watching our show, because we talk about every classification, just make sure people understand that live in the valleys, Utah and Salt Lake Valley and Davis County area, they're not all part of the Wasatch Front Coalition, I call it, where they agreed to the 25% capacity, and some now at 50. They didn't agree to that. So if you're in Cache Valley or you're in Washington County, you're in Carbon County or Emory, anywhere else, they didn't agree to that. So if we're walking around and you're seeing pictures today and you're seeing a lot of people in the stands, you're seeing people sitting close together, and you're like, this is going to mess us all up. A, that's not true. B, they are working with, because it's not up to the Activity Association, they're working with their county health departments. The county health departments in the school districts are going to decide how this goes.
Yeah, one of the biggest flaws that we have, in my opinion, is we look around and we say, oh, well, if they do it, then I can do it. And folks, when it comes to COVID and the measures that were put in place, that is not true. And Dusty, I appreciate you clarifying for everyone. This is being managed by county health districts. County health districts, which means that Salt Lake County, different than Davis County, different than Weber County, different than Utah County, different than Washington County. They're different. And they're all managing this situation as best they can on a nimble basis. Well, what does that mean? It means they're working with school districts within their county boundaries to establish guidelines around what can and can't happen in order for sports to operate. So before we get out there and we see things on Twitter, we see videos and, well, they aren't doing it, so I'm not going to, it doesn't apply to me, whatever. No, pay attention to your school district. Pay attention to the message that your schools are sending, that your programs are telling you, that your kids are telling you, that your health district is telling you. If we abide by those at a local level, then we can find a way to navigate through this. And sometimes that means we may have to implement some short-term measures, right? But that we can get through this, and hopefully we can get to November and have a state championship game. But, want to say props to the UHSAA. They've been supportive this entire time. And it hasn't been them dictating, yes, we're playing, no, we're not. They have been working with the health districts. They've been working with the school districts to try to coordinate all this, to be a support. And, thankfully, their work, along with all of our government agencies, have been able to figure out a way to get this season going. Let's not mess it up. Pay attention to what the message is. Let's adhere to it. Wear your mask, social distance where you're being asked to do that. We'll bring you as many games as we can. We understand people want to watch games. We'll bring them to you. But let's all just team up here with what our local regulations and guidelines are, and hopefully we'll end up on November with a state championship game.
I'd love to see, we have Mask Up Utah, one Utah. We all do our part to make sure this happens. And Dane and I want to be part of that too. It's why Dane made this Plexiglass, a little bit of wood, a little bit of can-do
Yeah.
attitude, and some elbow grease. So look at that. We're safe here on Deseret News Rewind.
Shows you just how handy or not handy I am. So,
All right, enough of this nonsense. Let's get to some football. Dane, you were at our game of the week. You and Jay Katz were there.
Yeah.
Timpview and Lone Peak. And wait, it's like we did this a year ago. Timpview and Lone Peak week 1, and Lone Peak coming out on top.
well, this was a great matchup, Dusty. You talk about two teams. They are two of the top 5 most winningest programs in the last 50 years in Lone Peak and Timpview. And they've played 19 times. Timpview had the edge, but Lone Peak had the edge in recent matchups. Timpview hadn't won this game since 2014. But you look at these two teams, and for Lone Peak, we talked about in our preseason, so many guys you have to replace. Nate Ritchie is gone, and Nita is gone, and Fotu is gone, and you graduate all of your receiving core, your Yamada, so many guys. And talking with Coach Brockbank, he's like, yeah, we got a lot of guys that we got to replace, and I think we have the tools to do it, but we'll find out tonight. And we found out. It took a while for this game to get going. The defenses showed up. You expect that in a week 1, especially with the different kind of offseason that we had this year. And I really thought that Timpview defense and offense would be just potent, but the defense on both sides came to play in that first quarter. We didn't have any score. It took the second quarter for something to finally happen. It was really cute. Timpview looking to punt here, and Raider DeMuni, the punter, he kind of flirted with this a little bit earlier, thought about running out, but on this punt, he does. He tries to keep it, tries to get the first down, doesn't even get back to the line of scrimmage. That Lone Peak defense, folks, I know they graduated a lot of talent, but they got a lot of speed that is replacing all that talent that they just lost. It set up a short field for Lone Peak, and we saw Luke Romney start at quarterback in this game, but they played multiple quarterbacks in this one. Hey Mooley came in, the senior. They shared drives. Hey Mooley able to finish off this short drive. He had a nice run to set up Siale Tahi from a yard out, Lone Peak on the board. And then Timpview, they were trying to get things going. They ended up just kicking themselves in the shins a lot in this game. They'd get short yardage, penalty. They'd get on the plus side of the 50, penalty. They have to punt this ball away, about a minute and a half left in the first half, and Lone Peak able to work a drive down. They get a field goal. It's 10-0 at the break. Halftime, you think, okay, Coach Stokes, he's got Targi Lamson, you got Carson Ryan, you've got a first-year starting quarterback in Amavea. See if they can kind of get him settled a little bit. First play of the second half, and it's a fumble on the mesh of the read option, and Lone Peak ends up recovering that. The Timpview defense holds strong. Field goal was missed. It's still 10-0. Next drive for Timpview, and oh man, this one just gets, how about that snag? What an interception from guess who? Tahi, a young man who had a well of a ball game. But folks, you will not see a better interception all year long than this one-handed snag from Siale Tahi. He would get a return, they'd be down in the goal line situation. Tahi 1 yard out again, his second rushing touchdown of the game, 17-0 Lone Peak. That offense for Timpview just could never get things going. I think Targi Lamson, 1,500-yard rusher last year, averaged 5 yards a carry last year. I think he had one run over 10 yards. That Lone Peak defense, Dusty, was all over the place. You talk about John Henry Daly, what a stud he has been. You've got help defensively with Oborn. And then you've got a new name. And when we talk about this Lone Peak defense, Dusty, often it's been kind of the unheralded guys that makes this defense so deep. This year, it's going to be Tate Gunnarsson, young man, senior, had a well of a ball game for this Lone Peak squad. That defensive line was so stout against the run, never allowed Timpview to get things going. They'd add a third Tahi rushing touchdown to finish this one off, 24-0 Lone Peak. And for all of those who wondered, how does Lone Peak replace all that senior talent? Well, they found a way in an impressive Week 1 win.
They do it by volume. 183 kids, I believe, is what's on the official roster. They only get to dress 50. And, I mean, that's a fourth-year team. I mean, that's just unreal. And so you're seeing it just by sheer volume of what they've been able to bring here at Lone Peak. And we had them in number 10 in our top 25, and we got a big win against Timpview.
Yeah.
And look, Timpview last year got out slow, still made it to the state championship game.
Yeah.
Week 1 does not make a season. All right, let's go to our best of 6A. I'll start here, let you catch your breath.
Okay.
How about this? What if a team went up against a semifinal team from a year ago in Week 1 that returns their quarterback and everybody else? Yeah, American Fork, 55 points. 55 points, folks. 10 guys caught passes from Maddox Madsen. 10 guys caught passes from Maddox Madsen, and the Cavemen all over Lehigh. Unreal. Here's what was again. The 4 guys with interceptions and 10 different guys caught or made catches on the night.
Wow.
Offense and defense, getting it done. Maddox Madsen tossed 5 touchdown passes in the win. By the way, he has some Carbon County ties, if you didn't know. Very, very, very impressed with what we saw week 1 from American Fort.
And we'll remind you that every week right here on Deseret News Rewind. Hey, my best of 6A, look. There was a team, Dusty, that I said, you got to watch out. They haven't won very many games as of late. They were on my kind of outside the top 25, a team to keep an eye on, and there's not a team that sent a bigger notice in week 1 than the Granger Lancers. Yeah, how about Cadius Fuimaono? We talked about the transfer from Jordan, the new quarterback there. They returned a wealth of rushing talent. They played Syracuse, and Dusty, Syracuse led this game 17-0. And I think that's what most people probably expect in this game. People had Syracuse picked to win Region 1. Granger down 17, they come back. We talked about Fuimaono, had a pair of rushing touchdowns in this one, had the game winner in the 4th quarter. Granger comes all the way back to get the win 28-24 over Syracuse. You heard it here first, folks, and we'll continue to mention it. The Granger Lancers, Coach Vaitu'u, he's got that program ready to rise.
Yeah, I mean, we were on Deseret News Rewind Live. We wish we had a stream because we watched it 17-0 and then watched them come back and get that win. It's just awesome for the Lancers.
Yeah.
All right, best of 5A. A team last year lost their first game of the season, 56-0. 1 year later, what do? They go into that team's home and win it, 27-17. Mountain Ridge goes into Olympus. At Olympus. Olympus is not. Ready for a fun fact?
Yeah.
Olympus has not lost a week 1 game since 2012.
Wow.
And Mountain Ridge goes to Olympus and wins 27-17, the first win in school history. 27-17, Kate Olave had a big night, and also Aiden Helm, the quarterback, had a good night as well, as Mountain Ridge knocked off Olympus.
You ready for another fun fact?
I love fun facts.
You know, last year, you know how many points the Mountain Ridge offense scored all year?
14 or something.
6. Coach Mayfu, good on you. We knew they were playing a lot of underclassmen last year, paying off here in week 1. Congratulations to the Sentinels on the first program win.
So excited. When we're watching that happen last night, like, that's just great for Coach Mike Mayfu. Someone we covered in our very first season. West Jordan got to the semifinals that year with Coach Mayfu.
Yeah.
When he was a running back, that is. He was a player.
That's a good one. All right, mine. Look, this is going to be a good one. You have a team last year that was around 500 in Region 8, but they return a lot of talent. The Maple Mountain Golden Eagles, Dusty, and they had a game last night against Cedar Valley, and this was all Maple Mountain. You had Tyler Nelson with 5 passing touchdowns, but the story here that I really want to share is a young man, Brian Bess. Okay, young man ended up wearing number 15 last night. He did that. He was selected actually by his teammate, Bryson McQuivy. McQuivy was actually diagnosed with cancer, Dusty, and was going to be a senior on this year's roster. He's going to be sitting out this year due to that health concern that he is trying to work through, and designated Brian to wear his jersey number that night. Bess had a pair of receptions, one of them for a touchdown, but our thoughts and prayers here at Deseret News Rewind go out to Bryson, your battle versus cancer. Pulling for you, young man. Best of wishes in that. But Maple Mountain gets a big win, and Bess does his best at honoring his teammate right now.
Absolutely. That was a great one. Yeah, that a little bit overshadows Nelson, those 5 touchdowns. Kyson Hall had 3 of those as touchdown catches, and a big win. A team we had in our top 20.
Yep.
They were number 16 and looked really, really strong. All right, let's go to the best of the rest. We'll give 5A, 6A a break. Dane, I'll let you start.
All right, Dusty. Here's another team that we had to keep an eye on in 4A, and it's Ridgeline. Dusty, they played Pineview last night in a high-scoring game, and I know Pineview graduated a lot of talent. Obviously, quarterback change, right? So, and that young man accounted for like 8,000 yards last year. That's an exaggeration, but it's a big number. I think it was like 5 or 6. Yeah. It was unreal what Croton did last year, his senior year at Pineview. But the Ridgeline coming up big, 42-38 with a victory over Pineview. Caden Cox had 3 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown in the win for Ridgeline. DeMooney
had a big night for the Riverhawks, and I think it's the 4th year in a row that Pineview's up against a Cache Valley school. All been high-scoring games. They've had a lot of dramatics over the years, but they played that game at Westlake. Did not play that either Cache Valley or down in Washington. Played it at Westlake High School last night. It was an early kick too. That game ended early. Here's a fun one. This was one of my favorite games at the end of the night. Crimson Cliffs were up 14-7 with 5 minutes left in the game. Manti drives the length of the field, scores, goes down 14-13, goes for two. They take the lead 15-14 with just under 2 minutes left. And then that is when the dramatics happen. Tyler Brown to Packer Butler down the sideline. The rail route, caught it, goes all the way to the house with just under 2 minutes. Well, it was like on the third play of the drive. Manti got the ball back, had a chance to get to the end zone, just could not quite make it happen as the Crimson Cliffs Mustangs, that's a hard thing to say, Crimson Cliffs Mustangs get a 20-15 win over Manti. That was a good one. Well, let's get to our quick hits brought to you by the Utah Army National Guard. Over 150 job training opportunities, and you can get a big lump sum of money, depending on which one you choose. Over $20,000 in a signing bonus. Go to nationalguard.com to learn more. Well,
Dusty, I mean, here was one that I had to double take at. How about the Bear River Bears taking on Juan Diego, and the Bears get a big 39-20 victory over the Soaring Eagle. Case Jones had 3 rushing touchdowns. Marble had a 90-yard rushing touchdown just 15 seconds in as the Bears get the win.
Well, I talked about some dramatics. How about these dramatics? Cedar City, Spanish Fork, Dustin Smith, quarterback elite Dustin Smith. All the great eyes up, do the work.
Yeah.
Dustin Smith, head coach now at Spanish Fork, and in his first game, goes down to Cedar City with his Spanish Fork Dons, tied at 14 apiece. Cedar City is inside their 10-yard line to kick a game-winning field goal. Well, they had their eyes up and they did the work. The Dons blocked it and forced it to go to overtime.
Wow.
Go to 2 overtimes. And the Reds, well, they might not have made a field goal in regulation, but they took care of business. Jaron Garrett connected with Jack Cook for the touchdown. Then Spanish Fork has their chance in the end. Interception picked off in the end zone as the Reds knocked off the Dons.
Keep your eye on Spanish Fork, though. Dustin Smith's going to do a well of a job there.
He will.
It's a great hire.
By the way, Reed, the big fella, you need to bring your big boy pants so you can tackle that kid from Spanish Fork. Yeah, he's got a truck run in regulation. It was unreal.
Well, hey, Dusty, how about another one that was a bit of a another team that we talked about in our outside the top 25. How about Bonneville taking on the Hunter Wolverines? And this is a Hunter team that was looking to compete for a region title in Region 2 this year. A lot of expectations there. Bonneville comes up with a nice 34-23 win. They actually led this game 34-6 at one point. Keeman Best had 4 passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown in the win for the Lakers.
You know, another coach with his debut that we've gotten to know, Scott Feldman, the head coach at Layton Christian, trailing against Judge Memorial, and his boys stepped it up. He said, Coach Cord, I actually messaged back and forth a little bit. Coach Cordova, the DC, he was doing a great job on us. And then our guys just stayed with it and came back to get the win. Layton Christian 19-13 over Judge. Tucker Prescott threw 2 touchdowns, a 55-yard strike to Malik Johnson, and a 45-yarder to Bill Lenedrick for LCA to get the win over the Bulldogs.
Congratulations, Coach Feldman. First win at a program in his first game. You're batting 1,000, man. It's time to retire. Go out on top. Hey, how about maybe the best game of the night, Dusty? Brighton and Fremont.
Yeah.
My goodness. So, we expected big things from Brighton this year. They certainly showed up. Gabe Curtis ended up having 4 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. How about the Fremont Silverwolves? I know it's a loss. You never love to celebrate a loss. They put up a lot of points against this Brighton team. 56-42 was the final for the Bengals. We knew Brighton was going to be good. To me, this actually says, hey, Fremont, they might be a team that some of us didn't see coming, contending for Region 1 this year.
You know, there was a team last year that scored a lot of points, just didn't quite have the year we thought they would have in Wasatch.
Yeah.
Mike Sanford, year 2. By the way, can we give some love to some of these former college coaches that are now coaching Utah High School football?
Awesome, isn't it?
Mike Sanford's a former head coach at UNLV's the OC, his second year at Wasatch. Brandon Doman, the legend at BYU, the OC from BYU, quarterback coach at BYU, now the offensive coordinator at Pleasant Grove. Don Eck, who was the head coach at Corner Canyon, was on the staff for Ron McBride, now coaching at Clearfield. I'm sure we're missing others.
Coach Coburn, the head coach of Wasatch.
What am I doing? Yeah, Coach Coburn. All he did was lead a team to the top 5 every year at Snow College.
Yeah, no big deal.
NBD.
Anyone can do that, right?
Played in 3 national championship games.
I'm kidding, Coach.
How about it? Wasatch 49-35 over Park City. Darius Edwards rushed for a touchdown and passed for 3 more, and Jaron Callum caught one each one and caught those touchdown passes. So a big night for the Wasps.
Yeah, we had some questions about a 6A team, Dusty, and how are they going to replace some talent? Well, I think they showed up pretty well in week 1. The Skyridge Falcons with a 33-13 win over Alton. It was their quarterback, McKay Hillstead, 4 passing touchdowns. Who's going to replace Emmett Cull? Check. Skyridge has a quarterback in Hillstead.
Hey, how about replacing quarterbacks? Corner Canyon had to replace a quarterback.
Yeah.
Jackson Dart transfers in, and man, we've watched Jackson Dart since his freshman year.
Yeah.
Okay, at Roy. He did not, it looks like I don't want to say totally different, but you just see kind of that unlocked ability at Corner Canyon. They took on the Farmington Phoenix and made it look easy, but you see the joy he gets to have. Noah Kerr catches a touchdown, I believe, in opening night in all 4 seasons of his high school career. Noah hit me up if I'm wrong. I think I'm right. He caught a touchdown pass in opening night in all 4 years at Corner Canyon.
Wow.
Cody Hagan, surprise, had a touchdown too. Oh, by the way, let's welcome back Austin Bell.
Yeah.
Did not get to finish the state championship run. Austin Bell has a couple touchdowns in this game too. Caught the ball out of the backfield as Corner Canyon looked in mid-season form.
Well, how would Roy do without their quarterback? Just fine. 49-7 over Jordan. Izzy Gordon had 2 rushing touchdowns. Cade Harris had 2 rushing touchdowns as the Roy Royals looked impressive week 1.
You know what? It's a lock for a good game. You know, good every time you see it on the schedule. It's not a region game, inter-classification game. But if you see it on the schedule, you know it's going to be good. You know which one I'm talking about?
Well, I'm thinking who's a Carbon rival outside of their classification?
We got to start playing better for that to happen. But Carbon lost to ALA. Thanks, Dane.
You're welcome.
Dixie Springville.
Ah, there it is. That is a great one.
Every year it's a good one.
Yeah.
And there was a good one again last night. Springville 25-22. Dixie has a chance at the end of the game. Actually, the kid had the ball in his hands in the corner of the end zone. Defense from Springville able to rake the ball out as Springville held on to win 25-22 in a seesaw battle. Caden Delamas with scored with 5 minutes left in the 4th quarter to lift Springville over the Dixie Flyers. The Fly Boys couldn't quite pull it off, but man, they're going to be good.
Yeah.
Reggie Graf's gone, a lot of those guys are gone, but they look. Coach Bonkers, he does a great job.
Well, Dusty, of all the quarterbacks we've talked about, there maybe isn't a quarterback who threw more touchdown passes than Mr. Bowles at North San Pete. I mean, they go 47-31 over Grantsville, 7 passing touchdowns, 4 of them to Magnus Clausen, in an impressive offensive night for the Hawks.
Well, just want to mention this. We'll go through some quick ones. Skyview gets a win over Stansbury. Stansbury scores 27 points in the second half, and it's not enough. Unanswered points.
Yeah.
Down 35-0, scored 27 unanswered in the second half. But it's Skyview getting the win 35-27. Kason Carlson threw touchdown passes to Luke Radford, Bryce Larson, Sam Thatcher, and then it was a pick 6 for Isaac Larson.
You know, we have some 2A teams being like, hey, what about us? We gotcha. Beaver, impressive. We talked about they graduated their quarterback. They put up 69 points last night in a lopsided win. And how about the men of Milford? Look, I know that you graduate one of the best quarterbacks, record-setting quarterbacks, and they put up 38 points in a win over South Summit, 38-20. Bo Hardy had 2 passing touchdowns. Beebe had 2 receiving touchdowns. And Hardy also ran for 3 touchdowns in the win for the men of Milford.
Hey, I said Carbon lost, so did Emory. Thank you, Miller. But let's go back to back here. The niece is now teaching at San Juan, so which means the Broncos, you get a weekly mention on Deseret
That was
News
huge.
Rewind.
Great win.
Yeah. The Broncos 26-19 winners over Delta.
Yeah.
A 40-yard pass from Jace Palmer to Parker Snyder late in the 3rd quarter was the difference. You be nice to Miss Nielsen if you're in her history class. I know her uncle took care of talking about your football team.
You don't want to mess with Dusty. That's why there's glass here this year.
Mrs.
I got
Nielsen
beat up a
taking
little
care
bit
of you
last
there,
year.
Yeah. Brother Nielsen will take care of you in seminary. You'd be good in release time too.
Look, there's a school that hasn't had a lot of success on the football field. Their most wins in program history is 4. They tied it last year. Copper Hills gets a nice 32-6 win over Taylorsville. And this is a program, hey, look, they went 4-0 out of the gates last year. They lost their last 7, tied for the best record in school history. They win week 1. Dusty, could this be a year where Copper Hills tries to take that next step and continue to build their program?
Certainly hope so. You talk about North San Pete, we're good on that one. Hey, let's talk about this too. Orm going through a little crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll come out, but Micah Fea threw 4 touchdown passes. Topola and Joe Smith had big nights as well as Orm took care of their in-town rival, Mountain View, and a nice win. Oh, by the way, speaking of nice wins, how about Bountiful? We're going the way back machine. What is this, 1998? Coach Wall back on the sidelines? What is this? 7-6 winners over Highland. And it was a competitive game, and we had that one of our games of the week. We're going to be doing all the Bountiful home games this year, and so enjoy those, Bountiful fans. What was that? It was awesome, though. 7-6 win.
It's a classic region rivalry is what it is.
What it was. Oh, my gosh. You know what? All night long, I'm watching that game. I was just seeing old shots, and I'd go get the newspaper on Saturday mornings living down in Wellington. and seeing Bountiful Highland on the front page of the Deseret News Sports section. That's what kept picturing in my head. I'm like, what is this? 7-6, nice win for Bountiful. Boston Malmrose's 50-yard touchdown pass. Brooks Cornelius was the only touchdown. It was in the first quarter. I was like, we're going to have a bunch of scores. Did not.
We failed to mention the Thursday night game. Davis with an impressive win over Harriman. Got out to a big lead. Harriman makes a nice comeback, but make no mistake, Davis dominated that game. You look at the stats, it was completely one-sided. Congratulations to the Darts. Coach Argyle, 1-0 out of the gate.
Week 1's always going to be a long show, folks.
Yeah, right.
Just what's going to happen. We're so excited to have football back. Something to talk about.
It's almost like we haven't had anything going on for the last 6 months.
Gosh, this is just built up information. You think we'd get out in 7 videos we put out last week? Nay.
Nope.
Nay. Let's go to Looking Good, brought to you by Black Clover. Again, the official outfitter of Deseret News Rewind. The Looking Good segment is our candidates for the week in individual performances or even team performances and big wins. The everyday polos.
Yeah.
You might touch them big. I don't know. No, I'm telling you what.
They're
We're
nice.
sitting in the sun. I'm wearing black, and I feel great. And if you want to look good, feel good, and just be good, go check out our friends at Black Clover, blackcloverusa.com. Use the promo code DNR20, DNR, Deseret News Rewind 20. Get 20% off any purchase online at blackcloverusa.com. Dane, you're Looking Good candidate.
Yeah, well, for me, I have a young man who made impact on both sides of the ball last night, and I was fortunate enough I was able to see it. For me, it's Siali Tahi. You look at the game that this young man had, 3 rushing touchdowns, also had an impressive interception. Look, if you're going to wear number 6 at Lone Peak, you got to fill out the jersey. He did it. He lived up to the hype.
How did he fit in it?
Siali Tahi, that is my Looking Good candidate here in week 1.
Somewhere Nate Ritchie seen that, I'm like, that wouldn't have fit me.
Yeah,
How did that fit on him? It was fit on him? It was fit on Nate.
Yeah, the real loser in this situation is Nate Ritchie, who could have been eating pizza for the last 3 years, right? Like, he had an extra 15, 20 pounds he could have put on.
No carbs to cut down to do all the stuff he had to do. Didn't need to. The jersey didn't fit anyway. I'm going to go a little Dane Stewart here. I'm not just picking one guy. I'm picking 50 plus a coaching staff. I'm going back to Mountain Ridge. First win in school history. You get your absolute nose bloodied every week, stick your face in a wood chipper every week, and you still get those kids to come back and play football, to go back to where it all started against Olympus, lose 56-0 one year, and come back and win 27-17 the next. You're looking so good, Mountain Ridge. So happy for Coach Mike Maythew and the Sentinels. You are my pick for Looking Good by Black Clover. Week 1 is done. Week 2 coming right around the corner. Dane, any final thoughts?
No, other than I can't wait for next week, Dusty. Everyone, wear your masks, be safe, socially distance so we get week 2, and we'll keep bringing you great action every week here on Deseret News Rewind.
Mask up, Utah. One Utah. Let's stay together. Let's help this season go. Everyone, do your part to make sure the season happens. A little bit of sacrifice can make sure that we get all the way to November 20th when the 6A championship game is done. If we do that, we'll get through fall. We know we will. Let's do it. We can get it all taken care of. For Vince Francis, Dane Stewart, I'm Dusty Litster. Thanks for joining us watching Deseret News Rewind on Deseret.com.